Powered by Riverside.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome into a brand new episode of the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. Sorry, 2 weeks. Oh God, 2 weeks off. 2 weeks off. Not what we want to do. Technical difficulties down in Richmond. Let's just say that. We're going to start off with that. Apologize to everybody. We were really looking forward to going live at Richmond Raceway this past Saturday, but unfortunately, technical difficulties. Mobile hotspot, Jake, kind of failed us this week, but I'm your host, Matt Codd, and alongside of me, of course, my co-host, Jake Belch. Jake, post-Richmond, we're recovering still. Let's have some fun tonight with all of our fans. Richmond recap. What's up, dude?
Hey, man. I'm happy to be back behind the mic. Sucks couldn't do it down there, but hey, makes this episode a little bit better. Get to cram a bunch of stuff into one, so got a lot on hand tonight for your listeners here, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, like I said, we were on the road. We'll be talking about Richmond and our fan experience later in this episode. Feel free to listen to us live here on Facebook and YouTube. We are live streaming. That is our main primary source of entertainment. Then if you miss our live episodes, feel free to smash the follow button on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Spotify. If you miss our live stream, we'll have it over posted to you as well for your listening viewership. Also, follow us on TikTok at the Broken Wheel Bearing Todd. Jake, you've been absolutely killing it with that. A lot of fun, a lot of interactions with our fans over on TikTok. Join the fun as well over at TikTok at the Broken Wheel Bearing Pod. So, show announcements. Oh, wait, we don't have any. We don't have any. We empty trade all of our show announcements this past weekend. Obviously, for months we were advertising Pocono, and obviously we were advertising Richmond. Man, race weekends go by so quickly. Work weeks don't go by quickly, but race weekends in general, like, here we are, post-Richmond, sad. Stay tuned, though. Stay tuned to our episodes because we will be posting our 2027 slate as the schedule is being released. We have a good, honestly, I think we have a great slate in 2027, by the way.
Yes.
Been kind of finalizing some details. Obviously, Pocono is on the board. That's the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast annual hangout tailgate. We'll have that up, and we just officially found out that that is going to be June 13th. So, same weekend as last year. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
But we'll be talking about scheduling a little bit. But, that was our big show announcement, was that Pocono will be back in 2027. So, no surprise there. Fans are probably like, Pennsylvania guys going back up to Pocono. No shocker. But like I said, we'll be finalizing some details for 2027. We do have one surprise, one not a big surprise, but we do have a big surprise coming up. So stay tuned on where the Broken Wheel Bearing podcast will be going in 2027. And obviously, one thing I wanted to open up the audience tonight, Jake, after what a fantastic race weekend down in Richmond that we had, the 2027 road trip, I'm opening up to some of our fans.
Yeah.
I might be opening up to that one for some of our fans. So we'll get some details as the season closes out in 2026. All right. So it's been 2 weeks that we haven't seen any of your beautiful faces, and you guys haven't seen our ugly faces as well. But let's get started on tonight's episode. Let's take the green flag. So multiple headliners this week. Multiple headliners this week came out into the NASCAR world. We're going to kick things off with the Hendrick Motorsports announcement. For the fans that really haven't been paying attention, I don't know how you missed this one, but Rick Hendrick, Jeff Gordon, found the replacement driver post the Alex Bowman era, and that's going to be Connor Zilisch. 2028, multi-year deal starting in 2028. Article courtesy of NASCAR.com. Hendrick Motorsports signed Connor Zilisch to a multi-year contract beginning in 2028 to drive the team's iconic 48 Chevrolet with continued sponsorship from Ally. The team announced on Monday. Zilisch is 20. In the midst of his rookie campaign in the NASCAR Cup Series as driver of the number 88 Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. Alex Bowman's currently the driver over at Hendrick Motorsports in the number 48. Announced last month, Bowman will be stepping away from full-time comp in 2027. A 10-time winner in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in 2025, Zilisch has been touted as a rising phenom in his journey to stock car racing's top level. Trackhouse owner Justin Marks signed Zilisch to a multi-year deal development contract in January 2024 when Zilisch was just 17 years old with an extensive background in karting and road course racing. Despite a challenging start to his Cup career, Zilisch has maintained extensive demand throughout the NASCAR Cup Series garage as a can't-miss prospect. Hendrick Motorsports was alone atop the list of potential suitors eager to pounce if Zilisch became available. Connor is truly a gifted young racer, Rick Hendrick, owner of Hendrick Motorsports, said in the team release. His talent behind the wheel is exceptional, but I'm even more impressed by the person he is. When someone with that kind of ability and character becomes available, you do everything you can to bring them into your organization. We have tremendous confidence in Connor, and we believe it's the right driver to build on the legacy of the number 48 Ally Chevrolet for many years to come. Bombshell, baby. Bombshell. What in the world did we just basically witness on Monday, right? I mean, for months, you and I, we've been going back and forth about Zilisch in his rookie season, right? We do have to remember he is 19, 20 years old, so the learning curve and the development obviously needs to transcend to the next level. But God, you're getting the keys to a Ferrari, Connor. You now have the keys to a Ferrari. What are your thoughts, Jake?
I got mixed emotions. I wasn't a Connor Zilisch fan in O'Reilly. I mean, I think he has a lot of talent. I think he's a really talented driver. This year kind of proved a lot of my thoughts true, and like you said, I get it. He is a rookie. I think the way that they kind of worded that, what you just read, it was a little, I think, what's the right word to use? A little out there. We've seen what he did this year. I mean, all Chevy has struggled. So do I think if he was in the 48 this year, would he have done any better? I don't personally think so. I believe in 2028, Chevy's supposed to get a new body style unless they move it to 29. But so maybe he'll come back and Chevy cars will be fast again. Who knows? But when you got guys like Byron, I mean, Elliott's won this year, but like Larson, who have struggled, you think Connor Zilisch is going to do any better? I don't know. We'll see. We got to wait a whole another year. So maybe he could develop and do a lot better next year. Maybe Trackhouse finds their way, and maybe he can show a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to being Hendrick. I think it's a good move for Hendrick. Only reason being the kid's young and you can mold him. Yeah. And he's with incredible teammates.
Well, I'm going to say this, right? Hendrick Motorsports has turned back to the New York Yankees of NASCAR. Let's call it as is, right? We're going to sign your best prospects. We're going to develop. They're going into our equipment now, and they're going to win, right? In regards to Zilisch, yes, this is probably one of the worst rookie campaigns I've ever watched in my entire life on a rookie driver in the NASCAR series. Zilisch right now sits 34th in the points with a grand total of 8 DNFs. It's not been pleasant to watch, let's just say that. One thing that is very interesting now is we as fans, can criticize because we're looking at it at the micro perspective. We're watching week in and week out. And that's very micro. Where Hendrick and all the analytical guys are looking at a macro perspective. Yes, we all know that Connor Zilic is young. We're not naive. We know he's young. And while at the same time I find it inexcusable some of these finishes, he's still developing within himself. Hendrick Motorsports is looking at it going, yeah, we're not paying him to drive well at 20 or 21 years old. We're paying him for the championship run that he's going to be in 25, when he's 25, 26, 27, 28, right? This move to me screams Jimmy Johnson 2.0. Jimmy Johnson 2.0. Very talented driver that a lot of organizations were very high on. Look, Trackhouse Racing. I'm sure Trackhouse woke up on Monday really not happy about this news. I know Justin Marks has come out in a statement saying, we're going to support him as best we can in 2027 so we can get him ready for 2028. But Justin Marks is the first one that believed in this kid, right? And then now you go from Trackhouse Racing, who, let's call it as is, they're a little bit in a lull right now with their performance within the organization. And then your driver that you were hoping to win championships with at the age 24, 25, 26, 27 years old, now is jumping ship over to basically the New York Yankees at NASCAR. But in regards to Connor Zilic, though, this is a great, great move for him. You have an opportunity to drive in one of the best organizations, one of the most historical organizations in the sport. You take the opportunity, you go for it. A couple of things that make me really upset, things that make me upset, though, with Zilic going over to Hendrick, I'm not looking forward to him driving Ally. I really wish that they could have cut a deal with Red Bull or WeatherTech, kind of bring some of those sponsorships over. But Rick Hendrick has a great relationship with Ally Banking. And clearly, Rick is obviously, Ally's funding that car every single week. They've done it for Bowman for many years. So I'm a little disappointed that we're not going to see fund sponsorships continue rising up with Zilic. But all in all, I think that this is a great day if you're a Connor Zilic fan. I think it's a great day if you're a Hendrick Motorsports fan. Hendrick always seems to be ahead of the curve in regards to scouting younger talent, right?
Yeah. No, I agree.
You saw it in 2018 when, the end of the era of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon, I mean, not 2018, but when Jeff Gordon retired in 2015, then they replaced him with Chase Elliott, a young driver that they have heavily invested money in. And then, in 2018, you brought in Alex Bowman to replace Dale Jr. You have William Byron coming up and then basically essentially replacing, he replaced technically Casey Kane. Hendrick built the organization to where it is now. They're always forward thinking to finding younger talent. And now it's going to be interesting because you got 21-year-old or 22-year-old at that season, 22-year-old Connor Zilic coming into the fold. The three other drivers are in their 30s at that point. So you have the best of the both worlds. You have a young prospect that you can build an organization post Byron, Larson, Elliott era. This is a very fascinating move. And to be honest with you, I don't think Hendrick Motorsports is going to be done in the near future. I think once Larson retires and once Byron retires, I would not be surprised to see Hocevar in a Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
All in all, fantastic move for both Zilic's career development. Fantastic move for Hendrick Motorsports in regards to finding the young talent and the young prospect to go sign to a younger deal. And it leaves a lot of dominoes, though, left in the sport, right? Corey Day was a rising guy that everyone thought that he was going to be going up to the next level with Hendrick Motorsports.
Mm-hmm.
He's landlocked now. You got Zilic coming in, and then you got the three other guys who ain't going anywhere. Let's call it as is.
Wow.
So where does Corey Day go? I mean, could he end up in the Trackhouse third charter? Possibly, right? Chevrolet driver. Maybe goes over to transition. But this also leaves a massive hole within Trackhouse Racing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you have Ross Chastain and SVG, and you thought it was going to be SVG, Chastain, and Zilic for years to come. Doesn't look like it's going to be that's definitely not happening now. So where does Trackhouse pivot? By the time 2028 rolls around, you might be looking at some of these O'Reilly Series guys who are developing down there, like a Corey Day, maybe a Sam Mayer, someone like that who's in the Chevrolet stable. Quapple could come up, but it's still too early to tell what direction they're going to go. All in all, for Hendrick, it's great day. For Trackhouse, man, you got to go back to the drawing board. One thing I did bring up on our TikTok and our Facebook reel the other night, Zane Smith may be a name to watch going over to Trackhouse Racing in 2028. right? It looks like Gregson's going to be locked up long term at front row. I don't know if Bob Jenkins is going to have enough money or sponsorship and allocate resources to fund Zane Smith, because Zane Smith's a very talented driver. Zane Smith and Trackhouse Racing had a good. They had a relationship back in 2024. Zane Smith was driving for Spire in anticipation of maybe possibly drive that fourth charter when the charter agreement was going on at Trackhouse Racing. Well, Trackhouse went to 3 charters. He bumped back over to front row. So keep an eye on Zane Smith as well. But all in all, very interesting. Also, folks, I forgot to mention in the beginning parts of the show. Every single topic that we talk about tonight, Blown Engine chat line wide open for you. Feel free to chime in. What are your thoughts on Connor Zilisch? That's going to be topic number 1 tonight. And speaking of the Blown Engine chat line, let's get to it real quick. We got TJ checking in. Thanks for listening, TJ. He says, Jakey B.
What's up, man?
Back from Richmond, baby.
Yep.
Back from Richmond. So, again, topic number 1, Zilisch heading over to Hendrick Motorsports in a very, very interesting move to open up silly season in 2028. Next headliner, Jake. We've been off for 2 weeks, but the NASCAR the NASCAR schedule for 2027 has been dropping rapidly. Rapidly, dude. Got some fun dates coming up, and these are all. I got, according to jski.com, I got their schedule. The schedule tracker's up from jski.com. Follow them on jski.com or by Facebook or by X. So I guess since the last episode, we've officially learned that there is going to be a traditional speed week again. For all the fans that want the Clash back at Daytona, we're back at Daytona, by the way. So the season will open up Saturday, February 13th, the night before the Super Bowl, too. Ooh, oh, God, that's going to be a great weekend. And it's President's Day weekend, too. President's Day weekend. Oh, my God. You got the Clash on Saturday, February 13th, the night before the Super Bowl. And then you got the Super Bowl. You got the President's Day the next day. But then we follow up with the, obviously, of the Daytona 500. It's the first race of the season. Then they head over to Atlanta, like they have the last couple of years. Week number 2. Circuit City America is week number 3. Phoenix is week number 4. Vegas is week number 5. And then Easter is the following week. So I guess NASCAR will be shut down for that week like they were this past season. So it seems like a lot of things did not change in the first half of the season. Like it did not seem like things are changing that much. I know Watkins Glen was ran in May. They're back into the playoffs. We knew that when Watkins Glen was ran this past season. Dover goes back to a points race, by the way.
Love
Dover
that.
goes back to a points race. The All-Star race goes back to North Wilkesboro. Absolutely hate it. Hate it. Because
I hate that North Wilkesboro's gone, but I love that Dover's back.
Dover's fine as a points race. I have no problem with that. But North Wilkesboro, damn it, that was a date that we had circled for to go down there. I'm not going for the All-Star race, but
I think it'll flip-flop.
God, I don't know. So North Wilkesboro is the All-Star race next year. Dover's going back to the points. A couple other notes here I have. Chicagoland is back on the schedule again for a second consecutive season. They will not be on the 4th of July weekend, though. They're the weekend before on Sunday, June 27th, which is very interesting because there was rumors within the garage that we could have been running the street course next year. Iowa is now your 4th of July race in 2027. We're just the one thing I will say about this: can NASCAR please just pick a damn track, put it on the 4th of July, call it a day?
I think the track you got to put on that, dude, is Charlotte, man. I think that's the most American track you can put on there.
Well, they're on Memorial Day. I mean, they won't go off of that, and I don't think they're going to run the second date that close. I mean, I was an advocate for Atlanta. Put Atlanta's second date on the 4th of July. You know, put a restrictor plate, fun, fast, 4th of July.
Yeah.
But instead we got Iowa. So, Iowa's the 4th of July race. Bristol, Gateway, and Darlington are out of the playoffs out of the chase in 2027.
Crazy.
Bristol turns to Saturday, August 14th, back to kind of that traditional August date that they had for many years. Gateway is Sunday, August 22nd. Then you got the Coke 400 at Daytona, Coke Zero Sugar 400, at Daytona on Saturday, August 28th. You got the Cookout Southern 500 on Sunday, September 5th. That's on Labor Day. No surprise there. But the Chase This is where it gets interesting, folks. The Chase opens up Saturday, September 11th, Saturday night racing. We are at Richmond to open up the Chase.
See, I like that.
That's
After
interesting.
this weekend, you and me both love that.
Oh, I love that. Might have to renew tickets. I'm kidding. We got so the Chase is pretty much locked and set in stone for 2027. Let's go through these races real quick with all of you. Richmond opens up the Chase on September 11th. Second race of the Chase, Watkins Glen. We knew they were coming off of May. They were going back into September. The Glen is a Chase race next year. Then the third race of the Chase format will be New Hampshire comes back off of the regular season. They go into the Chase. Then the rest of the Chase is familiar tracks that we've had for basically half the decade at this point. We've got Kansas, Vegas, Charlotte, the Bank of America 400, not the Roval, Phoenix, Talladega, Martinsville, Homestead. So those are going to be your Chase races in 2027. Any dates stick out to you right now?
That I like, that I want to go to?
Or dates that you like and dates that you didn't like?
Well, I do like that the Glen's back.
Yes.
Later in the
with
year.
with NBC. With NBC.
Yes.
Because Fox had one opportunity and they blew it.
I love that Richmond's getting put in there, and obviously we'll talk about that later, why we both were going to be happy about that. I like that they're giving New Hampshire a shot. I think this weekend's going to be a really good race. The first races in the beginning of the season, you got to keep them that way. I really don't. I wouldn't want to go change any of those, you know what I mean? But I do like that. I mean, I don't like that Bristol doesn't have 2 races.
No, Bristol has 2 races.
Oh, they
I'm
do?
sorry.
They're just not in the Chase.
Bristol still has 2 races. Sorry, folks. Bristol, the Food City 500 is so the early parts of the season is identical to what we saw last year.
Oh,
so
okay.
after Easter, you have Darlington, Bristol, Martinsville, Talladega, Texas, Kansas, and then Dover, and then you got the All-Star race. So very similar to what we saw in 2026.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not happy that Bristol's not a Chase race. I mean, that place is iconic. It's always a great race. I love that Dover's back as a point race. I don't like that North Wilkesboro kind of got the boot because of it. I thought both races had great attendance. I don't know. Maybe NASCAR's trying to feel themselves out.
Yeah, I think that's been the biggest disappointment, in my personal opinion. Like, obviously, we had North Wilkesboro circled as a possible track to go and attend, but unfortunately for me, like, I'm not going to do an all-star race. I'm just not.
No.
And quite frankly, I thought North Wilkesboro put on a great show for a points race.
Yeah.
They put on a great show a couple weeks ago as a points race. And that's why I'm a little disappointed to see North Wilkesboro back as the all-star race. But I guess NASCAR's looking at it going, well, what else do you want us to put as the all-star race? Put damn Texas on there. I don't care. Put Texas on there. Put North Wilkesboro in the regular season. But, yeah, I mean, Dover getting the points race. I know there's going to be a lot of fans of ours that are going to be really excited to hear that news. While I attended the All-Star race at Dover this past season. And I will say this. I thought Dover put on a good show as an All-Star race. I mean, to me, I still personally think that they need to always have a points-paying race. It didn't work, right? All-Star race is supposed to be ran at night. Dover doesn't have lights. That's number one. Number two, there wasn't that many cars on the track, and I really didn't like the format at Dover. Now, the All-Star race is going to be interesting at North Wilkesboro because they're not making it a traditional All-Star race. They're going to be doing a lot of testing at this All-Star race, from what I read. They're going to be doing a lot of tire testing. There's going to be a lot of different strategies within this race to kind of see what's going on with a lot of these teams. So,
do you want to know? Do you want to know what I think would be a good track? And because I know your dad just went. Rockingham.
But that's interesting that you brought up Rockingham. So Rockingham hosted the last couple of years the O'Reilly Series, the ARCA, and the Trucks. Rockingham lost all series. They have no series dates next year.
Which is crazy.
Crazy, because they just revitalized that track, and now all of a sudden they have no dates. I mean, maybe it's a rotational thing that NASCAR's going to do. I have not seen the rest of the trucks. I do know that Montreal got announced, or the Canadian Grand Prix is going to, or not the Canadian Grand Prix, excuse me, but the road course up in Montreal will have the Craftsman trucks up there next year.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so they're going back to Montreal. But, like I said, Rockingham not having any of the series, I'm like, well, what was the point of revitalizing the track at this point if you're just going to rotate it?
Yeah, it's a lot of money to put out there to be like, yeah, you're not using it now. Put the Cup Series there. I don't think it'd be a bad race.
I think it should be on the All-Star race. That's why I think it should be. Because
Yeah.
I think that North Wilkesboro deserves a points-paying race. I just do.
No,
I'm sorry.
I
I
agree.
just massively disappointed to see that back as the All-Star race.
Because I don't personally think you're going to see Rockingham ever go on a points-paying race. So just use it as an all-star race.
Use it as an All-Star race format, you know.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do like, I mean, I was an advocate for the LA Coliseum for the Clash. I really was. I thought the Coliseum was great. I was not a fan of Bowman Gray, to be honest with you. I like Bowman Gray because of the proximity of the teams. And after this last season with the weather and all that type of stuff, we knew NASCAR was going to make a change. I do like how we have a traditional speed week again. I
Yes.
really, really like that idea. I love it. You got the Clash. I mean, Clash, Super Bowl, and President's Day weekend. Oh, man, it's going to be a great weekend. But to whoever's listening to us live, talk about the schedule for 2027. We want to hear your thoughts. Some race dates that you like that came and got announced. Some race dates that you don't like. I mean, obviously NASCAR, is finalizing some dates. Right now, we still have a date for Michigan, Nashville, and Sonoma. Most likely, they're going to be announced very soon. Brickyard hasn't announced their date, but we know they're going to be back there. Just it's where they're going to go in the schedule. And San Diego Street Course looks like it's going to be coming back for a second season, which great in my opinion because I thought that was a great street course. But where are they going to land in the schedule as well? So one date that, and I know fans of ours are going to hate me saying this, I still don't like Gateway. I don't.
I'm not a fan of that.
I don't like Gateway. I think if Gateway just got off the schedule, I think we'd be okay. Make it an O'Reilly race. Call it a day. So, all right, those were our headliners, massive headliners coming out of this week, out of the garage. And then let's turn our attention to Richmond. Before we do that, let's check in the Blue Ninja chat line. Ted, he checks in. Thanks for listening to us. He goes, looking 5 to 10 years ahead, what does NASCAR need to change to attract younger fans and new manufacturers without losing the traditional fan base that made the sport what it is? Whew, very loaded question. That's a very loaded question. I mean, 5 to 10 years from now, I mean, in regards to manufacturers, I mean, obviously, obviously the schedule, in my opinion, is always, I think the rotation of the schedule is always going to be fun because, like, it's almost like the NFL. You don't run the same schedule every single week or every single year, right? Rotation of the schedule. In regards to the younger fans, I mean, they just got to be more, I hate to say this, but they got to be more attractive on social media. And I think that they're starting to do a really good job with that.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that you got guys like Connor Zillage, Carson Hocevar, who's bringing in a huge following. Actually, if you look on, I just read this actually before we got on air tonight that
Well, he's dating
Carson
the influencer
Hocevar,
now.
dude, he's bringing a lot of young females into the sport. Going to
Yeah.
their first race, like, holy shit, I like this. Here's the thing, and I hate to say this, in 5 to 10 years, the traditional fans are not going to be watching NASCAR.
Yeah,
You're gonna lose them. I mean, the way that they're going right now is more towards younger fans and more modern day young kids, that generation. Unfortunately, if I had 10 years, you're not gonna see like people like our dads watching. Unfortunately, I just think that you've already lost them and you're slowly losing the rest of them.
yeah. I mean, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, in regards to, Hocevar I think is really good for the sport. But a couple weeks ago, I made this analogy, right? And I think that NASCAR right now, history repeats itself. And I think that current day NASCAR is very mirrored and mimics the 1970s NASCAR, right? While I do think that Chase Elliott being the most popular driver in the sport is good for the sport, it's also Chase Elliott has no personality.
No.
Has no personality. Kyle Larson has better personality on dirt than he does in NASCAR, right? Like, it's the good old. Right now, I just feel like it's the good old boys. And NASCAR, what they really need is they need a badass. They need a bad boy, in my personal opinion. And that's why I really root for Carson Hocevar. In the beginning of the season, you and I were kind of getting annoyed. It's like, stop making it Dale Sr. Stop making him Dale Sr. But you know what, though? I'm okay with it now. Why? Because he's won a race. But at the same time, it's like, you're right. He's now dating this influencer. He was at the Met Gala. People know who Carson Hocevar is. It's like, you need a bad boy. Now, the thing that made 80s NASCAR so special, right? You had the battles and the rivalry of Dale Sr. and Tim Richmond. You sprinkled in a little Darrell Waltrip. You had Rusty Wallace in there. You need bad boys back in the sport. While in the 70s, you had a lot of good old boys, and we respect the racing, respect the equipment. And one thing I took away when I watched that Earnhardt documentary, I know we're going a little bit off topic, but the Earnhardt documentary when it came on Prime, right? The one thing that the older drivers in the sport, when Earnhardt came through the system, they did not like Dale Sr., and the reason why is because he was a badass. He's going to wreck you. He's going to win a race and all that type of stuff. That's what NASCAR needs to attract, because you need eyes back on the sport going, look what he just did. Like, that's insane. And now, I will say this. NASCAR, over the last half decade, they've had moments of that, right? The Hail Melon with Ross Chastain. That video goes viral. And they're like, wow, NASCAR is back to being like total, I'm doing whatever I can. The problem within the garage at this point is that we have a bunch of drivers that want to respect each other, and like if there's an incident, we have to now text each other. No, I don't need to text you. I want the drivers to hate each other. I want a rivalry. That's what made Kyle Busch so special.
Yes.
Kyle Busch was so special in the early 2010s because the fan base needs someone to hate. We can't just sit there and go every single time they call him out on the driver introductions. Wow, fan favorite. And I'm a hypocrite because I do that all the time. But I need somebody to go out on the stage and get booed. And while Denny Hamlin is in that stage right now, Hamlin's too old to be in that stage.
Yes.
I need a younger driver, Carson Hocevar, to just sit there and have half the fan base, you either love them because you wreck them to go win, or they hate you because you wreck them to win. And that was what made NASCAR so special in the 80s. Because they got out of that era of good old boys and we're going to respect you and all that type of stuff and we'll have a conversation. No, screw that. I want a heavyweight battle every single week.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw it last year. It's kind of quieted down this year. I mean, I think the rivalry that you really saw last year, because they were the two top drivers last year, was Larson and Hamlin. Like, they rally each other's doors every time. I don't really think you saw it this year that often, but dude, I think we're in for a good one next year when Corey Heim comes up.
There's
already bad blood.
They're already starting.
Bad blood.
Yep, they're already starting. The middle finger off at the the middle finger. I like that.
And then Corey Heim asking after the race why we're talking about a guy who finished 9th. I mean,
exactly. That's what I want that though, and that's what the fans want. And here's another one for you, right? I can't stand Joey Logano. I know we have a fan that's listening to us live. Sorry, Carrie. I'm not a Logano fan. I'm not. But I will tell you this. In 2017, I watched that damn television every single week because I did not know what was going to happen between Joey Logano and Kyle Busch.
Yep.
I did not know what was going to happen with Logano and, against Joe Gibbs Racing. Like, I wanted that entertainment. And that's what I think the fans really... I think that's what the fans really want at this point. They just want the entertainment and the rivalries back. And that's all sports in general. That's all sports in general. At the end of the NBA game, I don't need you guys exchanging jerseys. Hey, bro, like, you great get. No, screw you. You beat me. I'm not going to be your best friend. Jake, we got the blend in chat line blowing up from this. Let's get to Carrie real quick. She chimed in. I heard and I agree. North Wilkesboro Speedway deserves a points race. That racing was awesome. She was actually at the race, and that's a great take. They do.
I agree with her.
They do. Tom, he checks in on multiple comments. He goes, don't like North Wilkesboro or Bowman Gray. Atlanta doesn't need 2 dates. Get rid of the street course and put them on a real dirt track for one race. So dirt track's really interesting. They need the equipment to do it, though, in my personal opinion. They tried the Bristol dirt. The equipment really wasn't – it wasn't meant to be on dirt. In regards to Atlanta –
I thought it was a cool idea, though.
Yeah, it was a cool idea. They tried something. In regards to Atlanta, though, 2 days – or they don't need 2 dates, I disagree with you. I disagree with that. Atlanta, to me, is awesome. Like, and with all the renovations that they've done to that track. Now, granted, if they didn't do those renovations, they don't get 2 dates. They don't get 2 dates if they don't do all those renovations, but they did, so they're going to get 2 dates. And the racing, to me, has been pretty good there. He goes, leave North Wilkesboro and Bowman Gray to late models and modifieds. And his final comment was, just watch the 30 for 30 on Tim Richmond. The Southern good old boys didn't like him either. No, they did not. People don't remember that. Tim Richmond was absolutely hated by the good old Southern boys like the Richard Pettys, the Darrell Waltrips of the world. Mm-hmm. But again, though, that's what made the 80s NASCAR entertaining because, like, what the hell was Tim Richmond and Dale Earnhardt going to do to the field? They all hated him. And honestly, Tom, appreciate you bringing that up. That 30 for 30, if folks that are into the sport, they haven't gotten a chance to watch it. I think it's on Disney Plus now. That 30 for 30 came out, I think, like it was 15 years ago. That's an incredible that is an incredible watch. Incredible watch for all the old time fans and the new time fans, and that's why I have a ton of respect for Tim Richmond myself. So, and then Ted finally checked back in again. He goes, "Totally agree with needing a badass." Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. Well, I'm tired of, and I'm a Chase Elliott guy, but I'm tired of him and Ryan Blaney being good old boys and all that type of stuff. And we're best friends, and we're not going to wreck each other. No, wreck each other. I'm not saying intentionally wreck, but it's okay to turn your best friend to go for a checker flag. It just is. So. All right, I know we got way off topic there, but great comments and great conversations on the Blood End chat line. Again, feel free to continue chiming in on the Blood End chat line tonight, as we'll be continuing the multiple discussions of conversations this evening. Now, the moment I think everyone's been waiting for. Richmond. We're going to talk about our experience, which we're excited to share online. Then we're going to talk about the race. Start off.
From the minute, man, I laid eyes on that track, I was in love. And for people who don't know where Richmond is and how you get to Richmond, you literally drive through a town and then boom, Richmond's right in front of you. And there's just housing developments surrounding it. It has to be badass when you live there for the race weekend. But anyway, man, we pulled in. Parking lots impressed us right away. They're paved. We're used to driving into a massive field in the middle of fucking bumfuck PA. Beautiful. I think getting in was fine. Like, lines were moved. They were parking people pretty good. Tailgate was good. Awesome. Went to the race. I haven't been to as many tracks as you, man, but that track blew my mind away. The best racing I've seen live in my life. If you ever get a chance to go to Richmond, it's well worth your drive. It's well worth the money. And always stay at the Quality Inn. You're going to have the greatest weekend of your life. Besides that,
folks. The quality
it was a joke. Had a great time. Had down there, great people. Unfortunately, we bummed out for the podcast not to happen. We were both looking forward to that, but at the end of the day, the race made up for it. It was such a phenomenal night, and I wouldn't have traded that night back. I'm so happy we did it. I can't wait to go back there, but yeah. Unfortunately, Logano won, but
yeah, and obviously, if you follow us on the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast Facebook page, when I put up the status of FML, that's why, because Logano won. But yeah, no, honestly, Jake, that was one of the cool. And man, I am a good old fashioned sucker for a good old short track in the middle of a town, right? Martinsville is my favorite track to go to. Richmond's right there with me, right? The traffic flow was very impressive, and like you said, while for fans that have not been to Richmond, the track is in the northeast corner of like the city limits. It's in their fairgrounds district, and getting into the track, I mean, we took a detour because we wanted to hit Buc-ee's in Virginia, but we came off 64. We got into like where we were supposed to go, like the side roads, the exits, and all that good stuff, and going in off the exit of the highway to the track, pretty clear. All the way until I would say a couple blocks up from the track. Now, when we got to a couple blocks of the track, it was residential housing, and then all of a sudden you saw Richmond Raceway's like sign, and you're like, "Oh, cool, it's right there." Then it's tucked even further back. So, and then we obviously not being down there and going down there for the first time in our lives, did not know the parking situation. So we thought that the one parking lot was only for infield and camping. Reality, that was the front stretch parking. Whatever, it's all good. Then we looped around the back stretch and then we parked over behind turn 1 and 2. I totally agree with you. Parking lots, paved, great. That was awesome compared to what we're used to at Pocono, where it's gravel. Even Dover at times gets gravel and grass. But all in all, absolutely sensational. The couldn't have asked for better weather, too. Couldn't have asked for better weather. We posted on the Facebook page, Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast, at the start of the race. The sunset going down as the race was going on. Gorgeous. And then seeing all those cars, all 37 of those cars, on the track under the lights on a Saturday night, short track racing. Loved it. Loved it. The one thing I will say about Richmond, while I don't think Richmond's a great race to watch on TV, I think it's fun, and I do enjoy that they're down to one date now, but I can understand why the fans are upset about that. the racing at the track itself while you're watching it, absolutely incredible. There is so much action going on that track at all times. And then the fuel strategy, tire strategies play into effect. And obviously, TV can only cover so much, but seeing the race live in person, remarkable. Remarkable. To me, I kind of ranked them when I got home on Sunday of racetrack experiences I've been to. Myself, I've been to 7 tracks. That was my 7th one I chalked off the bucket list. Daytona will never ever be beaten, right? It's the Daytona 500. Like, that is the greatest experience I've ever had in my entire life in a NASCAR race. But I talk so highly about Martinsville in regards to how much fun it is. It's in a town. It's like, there's a racetrack behind houses, right? And Martinsville to me was always my number 2 track. Richmond's right there with Martinsville. Richmond is right there with Martinsville, in my opinion. That was absolutely sensational. I think the experience and the atmosphere at that track was one of the most elite experiences I've ever had. And then clearly, like, Pocono and Michigan are kind of like right there tied together. And then New Hampshire, Darlington. It's Darlington, Martinsville, and Richmond, the tracks I've been to. Those 3 are all kind of linked together. Loved every single one of them. The worst track I've been to, and I hate to say it because it's so close, and I continue shitting on this track, is Dover. The only reason why Dover's appealing is because it's close. I don't think that the race day experience is fun. I don't think the atmosphere is incredible. I just think it's Dover. It's like you just go because we're in the proximity of our house. But yeah, no, Richmond, man, that was absolutely awesome. I had a hell of a time, great time, blast. Definitely will be back again. And it's only 4.5 hours or 4 hours 45 minutes from us. And that's actually the worst thing that could have ever happened. We go to that race, and I'm like, it's 4 hours 45 minutes. Why haven't I been here even more?
That's true.
But the fans were awesome down there. Absolutely awesome in Virginia, dude. Those fans are nuts.
They were cool.
I mean, now granted, the one fan that I sat next to was from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, which I live in Hellertown, which is basically like 20 minutes.
Crazy, man.
But the rest of the fans, like the ones from Virginia, like people from Virginia, like, man, they love NASCAR, bro. Like, they love NASCAR.
The amount of people who comment on our posts on TikTok that were there is crazy.
Oh, yeah, that
TikTok. I posted a race at Pocono. I ain't got nobody commenting. Oh, I was there.
Yeah, we had you posted it up on TikTok, a video of the start of the race, and it was like us being down at Richmond, and we had like 300 to 400 comments and pictures too of like where people were sitting in the stands.
Yeah.
I do, like I said, final point on that, like I said, I understand them going down to 1 race date, but at the same time, I do think that I wish that they still had 2, because I do think that the experience is so much fun. Now, Richmond did make a post out of the weekend. They said that they sold out. Did you think they sold out?
No, that's funny. I talked to my dad on the phone. He said it did not look sold out at all.
I don't want to say... Yeah, I don't want to say it didn't look... Like, it's tough because, like, it's... I don't know what this... And it could have been, like, basically seats available. It could have been just the seats available that they were willing to sell on ticket prices.
Mm-hmm.
But there were empty... Now, I'm saying not rows. There weren't rows of empty seats.
No.
But there were, like, spots in rows where it was, like, 2 seats didn't sell. Or, like, 1 seat here. Like, it did look packed, though. Like, there was a lot of fans there. I'm not gonna say there wasn't a lot of fans. There was a ton of fans. It just... I wouldn't say it was sold out.
No, I wouldn't put it. I think it was very close. Very close.
Very close.
To
Yeah.
selling
Oh,
out.
yeah.
But it's crazy, man. I don't know how a place doesn't sell out.
I don't know either.
And dude, over at the end of turn 2, they have a whole section that they don't even use.
Yeah, they tarped that, which I actually kind of like the tarp because it's all the track. It's all the track sponsorship, and they just tarped it off. I like that.
Yeah.
But no, all in all, if you've never been to Richmond, 1,000% recommend to all of our fans listening to us live tonight, and any fan that wants to consider going down to Richmond.
Just sucks you got to wait so long to see it next year.
We can renew. It's a Saturday night, Jake. You don't got to take PTO.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I know. Yeah, I'm down with some Saturday night racing.
Also, again, got kind of piggybacking before we get into the actual race in itself. As Jake mentioned, I greatly apologize to all of our fans that were looking forward to us recording live at the track. That was the first track I actually had issues at, recording live on a hotspot. And I've recorded at Pocono, I've recorded at Martinsville, I've recorded at Daytona. And Richmond, out of all Daytona, you clearly don't think that you would, have issues, but Richmond, I was in city limits, but I mean, we weren't able to just connect, and that's what sucks because I love doing shows on the road so our fans can see the background and all that type of stuff. So.
Yep.
All right, let's get to before we get into the race itself. Ronald, he checks in. He goes, "Hey guys, Ronald, hope you're doing well, dude." And then he goes, "I don't have a lot to talk about. I didn't even know the race was Saturday, and Chris Bell can't get a win. That's all." Yeah, I was kind of disappointed in Bell this week.
Second place, Bill.
Yeah, second place Bell. I mean, finished 7th this week, so not second place. But
Well,
all right,
7 times you finished second place.
that is true. That is true. But all right, so let's get into topic number 1 from the driver this week. We unfortunately now have to talk about him. Joey
Make it short and
Logano.
sweet.
No, we're not making it short and sweet because I bashed him early. My Logano fans deserve me to eat some crow and all that type of stuff. So I got to own up to this. And my stomach's been turning all week because I got to own up to it. But Joey Logano, here we go. Wins the race on Saturday night, right? Before we get into Logano, though, here's your final run chart from Richmond this past week. Logano ends up winning this race. Finishing second was Chase Briscoe. Excuse me. Third was Austin Cindric. Fourth was Denny Hamlin. Fifth was Chase Elliott. Sixth was Kyle Larson. Seventh was Christopher Bell. Eighth was Josh Berry. Ninth was William Byron. And 10th was Alex Bowman. Stage 1, top 10. Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, William Byron. Stage 2, top 10 was Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron. Laps led in this race. You had Logano, 95 laps, followed up. And then Chase Briscoe led 171, which did not feel like 171 laps.
No,
I mean, I know he was in the lead, but when I looked at this, I was like, he led 171 laps. It felt like I felt like it was reversed. I felt like Logano led 171, not Chase Briscoe. Denny Hamlin led 3 laps. Kyle Larson led 2. Christopher Bell led 29. Josh Berry, led 8 laps. Tyler Reddick led 7. Ryan Blaney ended up leading 88. Is that 88? Yeah, 88. Ty Gibbs led a lap, and then Bubba Wallace led 3 in this race. So that's your final score chart from the Cookout 400 at Richmond this past Saturday. Time to talk about him. Joey Logano, guys. Joey Logano, here we go. You know, the thing that sucks is when the playoff system was eliminated, I'm like, started laughing. I said, go ahead and put yourself into the championship, Joey Logano. You can't do it now, right? I was feeling so confident on this podcast. I'm sitting there bragging. He's not making the chase all season long. In earlier episodes, you've all heard me say it. We get to Sonoma. He sits 20th in the points. No way in hell he's making it into the chase. None. He's done. I even told my Logano fans, pack your bags, have a nice 2026, enjoy Cancun. We'll see you next year. Here he comes. 12th at Chicagoland, 9th at Atlanta. I was like, okay, that's cute. He got a couple top 10s, a couple good finishes there. North Wilkesboro completely dominated the race. I said, okay, whatever. Joey dominated the race. You knew that was coming. Yada, yada, yada. 3rd at Indy, 14th at Iowa. What does he do the other night? Wins. He wins. Joey Logano right now, folks, was 20th going into Sonoma. And now currently sits 9th in the championship points. 9th. All right? Also, by the way, the one thing that Logano wasn't doing in the beginning of the season, that's why I said, chalk it up. Cancun, Hound 3, 1, 2, 3, Cancun. He wasn't leading laps.
No.
Joey Logano now has led 534 laps this season. He sits 9th. 2 wins. I was stoked for this guy to not make the chase. Now, he's not just going to make the chase. We always talk about this summer stretch. Who's getting hot at the right time? Who's getting hot at the right time? And I did not think for once 22 was going to be the driver we're going to be talking about going into the chase going, yeah, you know what? His season turned around. He's getting hot at the right time. But here we are. As multiple fans have said, they go, oh, it's an even year. So Logano's going to win a championship. And I'm like, pump your brakes. He's not, because the playoff system's gone. Is Joey Logano now a serious championship contender, Jake?
100%. 100%. This is a guy who did not want to get hot at this late. And, dude, here's the thing. Everybody's talking about, he's got to be in that top 6 and you got a chance. No. You got the top 6, and then you got Joey Logano.
Yeah.
And you know how fucking pissed off that makes me? That I got to say, I can't wait to watch it. Oh, now I got to worry about the 22 car. Yeah, man. Hot at the right time. And, dude, going into another week at a track that he's pretty decent at.
Here we go. And, like, it's so on brand for Joey to do this, too, right?
Yep.
Like, he's dead in the water. You're all excited because, again, he's a driver that you love to hate. You're just stoked because it's like there's no way in hell he's making up for what he did in the beginning parts of the season. One of the worst starts to a season I've ever seen from a driver. One of them, ever. And here he is. Here he is, folks. 9th in the points again. 9th. And, again, I am a Joey Logano hater, but I got to give credit where credit's due. I just do. This team, there is something that just clicks when it starts getting hot out in the summer. This team just starts collecting it together, just putting everything together. They do, and they've done it now for the last couple years, right? The big thing for me, 2024 is last championship season, right? I always go back to that season, and it's like he was dead in the water again. No way he's a championship threat. Well, he wins Nashville. And in the old playoff system, all you got to do is win and get in. Win and get in. So he got into the playoffs. And then what does he do in the playoffs? Well, let's talk about it. Wins Atlanta that year. Okay, advances to the round of 12. Ends up having a pretty decent round of 12. Or, not decent. Because, Bowman ends up getting DQ'd at the Roval. And then all of a sudden, it was like, okay, cool, Logano got eliminated at the Roval, and you're like, yes, finally, he's not going to win the championship. Then all of a sudden, Bowman gets DQ'd. And then now, Logano's going into the round of 8. And then what does he do? Wins Vegas on a strategy. Then he goes to Phoenix and wins the championship. It's like, here we go again in 2026. Dead in the water, all the way up to Sonoma. Struggling, crazy. Ends up winning North Wilkesboro, and what did the field end up doing with him? They gave him confidence. That's the biggest thing with Logano. When things are on with Joey Logano, things are on. And that's any driver, but like with Joey specifically, it's like once he gets that taste of success, like that's it. You can't take it back now.
Yeah.
Like you said, he jumped from 20th in the points just 6 weeks ago and is now 9th. And as you said, yeah, all season long, we've been talking, in order to win this chase format, you're going to need to finish within the top 6 in the points. Logano sits 9th, and I'm telling you right now, I'm sweating thinking of him winning that championship because it's right there. Because he's the only driver that will be able to overcome that adversity. He just does it.
You want to know what also kind of blew my mind? And that's not that he's bad at it's just the tracks that he won this year.
Yeah, North Wilkesboro and Richmond.
And I was like, not that he, and I you know Joey Logano, the famous name of Danny Hamlin, just short track racing. Joey Logano has become a very good short track racer, and it's scary because look, the end of the year, this year, of course, is ending with short tracks.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
yes.
It's like, and Joey Logano's doing good at these tracks. Watch out.
Well, here's the thing, too, with Logano. Like, we could be talking about Logano possibly being 5th in the points within the next 2 weeks. You have New Hampshire and you got Daytona. You think that if he's got a chance to win Daytona, you think he's not going to block the field?
Oh, 100%.
100%. And again, we talked about early part in the season why Reddick was so successful. Why was Reddick off to that hot start and that incredible points lead? Wins.
Yep.
Wins. 55 points off of wins. Logano's got 2 of them within the last 6 weeks. He made up all the deficit of his early season struggles.
Yeah, and the 2 weeks that he won, he got 70-plus points.
Oh, yeah. Well, even this week. Like, let's look at it. Yeah, 73 points. 73 points. I think
at North Wilkesboro he had 70.
Something like that. Yeah, so he was within the 70s on his 2 wins. Like, that's insane. And that's how you overcome early season struggles. Now, granted, it's not the driver I wished it was happening to, but at the same time, like, credit where credit's due. This team just gets it.
Yep.
And you hear athletes talk about all the time in the main sports that have long seasons, right? The seasons are long. The seasons are long. Like, yeah, what's happening in the beginning parts of the season? We'll figure it out. We'll get there. We'll get there. And it's like, and then it comes to a point where it's like, are they ever going to get there? And that's where it was with Joey after Sonoma. It's like they're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And then they did. And here we are. Now we're having championship. I mean, folks, 8 weeks ago on this podcast, I told all my Logano fans, go pack up Cancun, have fun. And now I got to talk to him about a serious championship contender, which he's turning himself into one now. Our buddy Trioval Life, he actually posted this the other day. And, the running joke with Joey Logano is, even years come up, Joey becomes a championship threat. Even years, even years, even years. Trioval Life basically said, he goes, if it wasn't for Matt Kenseth, Logano might be known as any-year Joey. And when we talk about Joey Logano, when we talk about even-year Joey, remember 2015 was his best statistical season of his career. He had 6 wins that year, 22 top 5s, 28 top 10s, 6 poles, 1,431 laps led, and a 9.2 average finish. If Kenseth doesn't take him out in Martinsville, he probably wins that championship.
Shout out Matt Kenseth.
Shout out Matt Kenseth because you did stop him from being a 4-time champion. Not kidding. But that's the whole thing with Joey Logano. It's just like he's on. At this point, it's like he's so unpredictable because when you think you figured him out, you didn't.
Yeah.
I just can't believe we're talking about him as a series championship threat. Here we go. I know a lot of people in the garage. I know a lot of people at podcasts feel the same way as I do. So, anyways, in regards to Logano, like I said, yeah, he actually jumped 4 spots this past week in the points from his win at Richmond. He was 13th entering the race at Richmond. He jumped all the way up to 9th. Incredible jumps. All right, let's talk about Kyle Larson. This is your boy. I'm going to let you take the reins on this guy.
Yeah, no, actually, coming into the race, I know we were talking qualifying. I did on Friday. And then when I saw he qualified third, I was like, then I realized he qualified pretty early because of his finish the last week. I was like, a race that Kyle Larson's usually pretty dominant at, has dominated here, I was like, okay, whatever. Let's play another Larson fucking fluke. Well, then I realized Knoxville Nationals, and I'm like, shit, I forgot about that. And he was racing a car the entire fucking week, and then came out to Richmond to qualify, practice, race a race. But yeah, dude, Matt, I was watching him all night, 30th all the way up to 6th. Great strategy. Just kept improving the car every pit stop. He just seemed to get faster and faster and faster. I don't think he was fast enough to win the race. Obviously, he did not. But just overwhelmingly, was very pleased to see Larson back at a top 10 for the weeks that he had before.
Yeah, he's been
starting to drop. Yeah, he was starting to drop into points. So do I think he clinched? I think he clinches this week. Larson's going to be in the playoffs. I mean, but then to leave, get lucky, leave Richmond, gets totally cleared. You don't need to talk to the media. Just go. Cliff Daniels, hero of the night, sets up a plane. This guy flies to Iowa to race Knoxville Nationals.
Which is funny because you were so mad when we were walking out of the track
because
he was the only driver now on pit road, and you're like, Kyle Larson, you bum! You can't even see the fans while we're leaving, not realizing what was going on in the back. Yeah. That's the only thing that sucks about being at the race. You don't know what's actually going on.
Yeah, you don't. I was like, I didn't know. I was like, Knoxville Nationals started 8:00.
Yeah.
So. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, shit. This dude flies to Iowa, gets out, doesn't even do hot laps, gets in the car, dominates, leads all 50 laps, and wins the Knoxville Nationals. I'm like, that's why it was a night for Kyle Larson. Dude, he did the double, and I think it was a way more of a badass double than freaking Indy. That's just my opinion, because I'm a huge dirt car racing fan, so that was badass. I mean, dude, at the end of the day, I won't give Kyle Larson the GOAT status anytime soon, but he's freaking flirting with it for how good this guy is.
Under. No,
under. Dude, he's won a lot on dirt. He can't win on asphalt, or concrete, so, I mean.
So, in regards to Larson, though, right, at Richmond, started 30th in this race, ended up climbing up through the field all night long, ends up finishing 6th, very battle-tested night for him. And not just Larson though, really a kind of a nice shout out to all of Hendrick Motorsports, which has been in a very, very downward spiral lately. You had Chase finishing 5th, you had Kyle finishing 6th, you had Byron in 9th, and you had Bowman in 10th, which this track actually really favors Alex Bowman. Seeing the 48 up in the front at Richmond wasn't a surprise whatsoever, but all in all, really good nights for Hendrick Motorsport drivers. It stopped that bleeding, and it's what we always talk about every single week. Sometimes you just need a single to get back on the track, right? Chase Elliott, prime example, finishes 5th in this race. He had a fast car. He did. Was it fast? Was it as fast as like Cindric, Briscoe, Logano, Hamlin? No, it wasn't. And you could tell when he was on fresh tires that car was fast, but when his tires faded, and he had a very good short car run, not a good long run car in that race the other day. But at the same time, sometimes all you need to do is just hit a single, and that's what Hendrick Motorsports did. And what's called is you got 2 more races to fine-tune this thing until you go into the chase. Would you rather be cold in the summer stretch where you're kind of already essentially kind of clinched? 3 of them kind of are. And then go into the chase, bat out of hell? Probably. And maybe that's what Hendrick is doing. Maybe they're playing the long run. But yeah, I mean, Larson, was good to see the 5 up near the front again. And after a 30th starting position, and for majority of that race, I'm like, Jake, there's no way he's going to get. And there's no way he's getting up into the top 15. He'll be lapped down. Now he got the 6. Great strategy all night. Like I said, again, credit to where credit's due. Hendrick Motorsports had a wonderful night. I will say this, though. A driver that is kind of fallen over the last couple weeks and kind of like America's sweetheart right now, Carson Hocevar, ends up DNFing in this race on Saturday night. Ends up over-revving his engine. Ends up blowing the engine. He was the second cause of caution outside the stages the other night. And I look at Hocevar while we come out of Indy, and we're like, man, Carson Hocevar, dude, like this guy is flying up through the points. He was 5th. Hocevar's now he's down to 11th. Things can change quickly, and well, I think Hocevar has enough points to not fall out of the chase. He's got to be another driver now. I'm looking at going, I need him to get his single. You want to make the chase, you got to finish these next 2 races off very strong. And Daytona is Russian roulette. Let's call it as this. Anyone can wreck in that race. You got to avoid the wreck as much as possible. Yeah, it's great to win the race. I don't disagree. It's great to win, but put yourself in good prime positions. Because at New Hampshire, I just don't see it for Carson Hocevar. I just don't.
No, I don't know. It's actually funny. Did you see what he did? He went on Google and he said, "Hey Siri, how do you properly shift the?" I forget the whole thing, a car or something like that. Because he totally missed a gear and just revved and then slammed the gear and just there goes everything.
Well, when you watch the highlight, I mean, we watched the highlights.
Yeah.
We had to because we didn't hear Burton, Lee Diffie, and Letarte in the booth. But, like, Burton even says, he's like, that is an engineering nightmare, that what he just did. You know, and it is. I mean, eventually, it cost him that race. It cost him the night. Yeah. So.
I'm surprised we didn't hear that thing blow up.
No.
Don't get me wrong, that track is really loud to do on Richmond. Richmond is a very loud track. We love it. I love fast cars, but yeah, I'm surprised we didn't hear that thing blow up.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I mean, honestly, when I was out getting food when the time that caution happened, and you didn't. I mean, the only thing you heard was the announcer say we're under yellow flag. Essentially, that's all you heard. But yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, Carson Hocevar starting to slide a little bit. I mean, a couple of these other guys that had good days, that needed good days. I mean, I look at a guy. Let's go into the next topic with driver is Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric, and just a nice, quiet 3rd place finish.
Yep.
Quiet. Started this race in 23rd, had speed, went great strategy, went through the field, ends up finishing, and when it became dark, the long run speed was there, and ended up collecting a 3rd place finish. Cindric, honestly, has become pretty decent at this track. Last year, he finished 5th. Finished 5th last year, finished 3rd this year. And for somebody like Cindric, who's so close to the cutoff line, and what's called is this, there's guys coming close to that cutoff line as well. Cindric needed that finish more than anything. In order to make the chase, like, put that car in the top 5. I'm interested to see what he does in New Hampshire. Daytona, we know that Penske is always going to do really, really good at super speedways.
Yep.
And with again with Cindric's top 5 finish, he ends up finishing. He's right now he's 15th in the points. So I mean he's
And it gave him a
574. Gave him a cushion. I mean he still has to he still has to execute. Still has to execute because
DNF would kill him.
yeah, because I'm looking at some of these drivers closing in on the cut line and like where the cut line's at. You have Priest right there at 17, 517 points. Chastain out of left field has now started picking it up. I think it's a little too late, but starting to pick it up as well. But another shout out, Jake, I want to talk about SVG, right? And I think a lot of the SVG haters have been waiting for the downfall of Shane Van Gisbergen, right? When is Shane Van Gisbergen going to fade into a non-chase driver? Well, the other night, if you're an SVG hater, guess what? He finished 14th. Finished 14th, gave himself more of a little bit of a cushion. Now he's 16th in the points, but he's been able to progressively put himself in positions to stay within the chase. I mean, SVG's been in the chase the whole seaon.
Yeah, do you remember you and I looking at each other like it was him that kept going around pit road, wasn't it? No, it wasn't him.
It was Zillage and Brad.
And then, Brad. But then, remember, at one point, SVG was just getting fucking passed, dude. I think it was middle of the race. I don't know, maybe if you were down doing something, but I was watching he was quick. He was going through the field. What the heck is he doing now? And then I realized the strategy that he was on. He pitted after everybody else. But I actually didn't even realize that he finished that high.
So, me neither. And the funny thing is, I didn't know that until we went to Wawa after the race. And there was a guy in a Red Bull shirt. I was like, man, rough night. And thinking it was Connor Zillage. And he's like, I'll take a 14th place finish. And I'm like, who are you? I'm like, SVG. He's like, yeah, SVG finished 14th. I'm like, he did? And I look at and then, like you said, because you weren't used to seeing him up in the front. And the other thing, too, remember he was running that high line pretty much the whole entire race. He was running that high line. Only driver to go up into the high line. Apparently he found something up there. Now, he did that in the truck qualifying, from what I understand.
Where he won on the pole?
Yeah, he won the pole. Yeah, he won the pole in the truck for the truck race because he was running that high line. So maybe he was just trying to test it to see if it worked in the Cup car. And, I mean, I will say this. Clearly it did. He started 31st in this race. He finished 14th.
Yeah.
So, SVG, again, I mean, he's 16th. He's 16th. 2 races left. No winning in. Does SVG have enough points to get into the chase? I mean, his teammate's coming up hot.
But I want to say, I do want to say something. It's very impressive that he's there with 2 races left, and he's not automatically in.
Yes.
With a win.
I agree with that. I agree.
It's a huge stepping stone this year for SVG, honestly. SVG fans should be very happy.
Totally agree with that. But, all right, let's get into the points. Well, before we get to the points, let's go into the chat line. We've got some comments filing in. Ted, he checked back in. He goes, Caden Honeycutt, that's my sleeper badass pick. It could be. I mean, that's not a bad pick at all. I mean, he's going to be up in, NASCAR next couple of years. I mean, you have Caden Honeycutt. You have Caden Honeycutt. Lane Riggs probably be up.
Lane Riggs, yeah.
Then you got Brent Cruz, who's probably going to be taking over the 11 when Hamlin retires in a couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, there's some guys that could be coming up that could make that, NASCAR pretty fun. Then we let's get to other comments. Jack checked in. Go 22. The boys are getting hot. Oh God. Do I have to really hear that? I'm just gonna delete those comments. And then we got Steve. He checked in. He in regards to as far as he was riding the Dente. Well, Steve, you got to see your boy live. Ends up blowing an engine right there. There you go. Got to see your boy live blow an engine. So. All right, let's get the points, Jake. Post Richmond. What do we got? We got 7 now. Now we have 7 drivers officially clinched for the chase. Hamlin, Blaney, Gibbs, Reddick were clinched last week. They obviously are still clinched. There was a little movement in the top 4. Blaney goes to second in the points. What happened to Ryan Blaney, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know. He just kind of faded back all night, honestly.
What happened to Blaney? And for anyone listening, chime in, blend in, chat line. He was on the pole and he was a front runner for majority of the race, and then all of a sudden out of left field he finished his race a lap down.
I think it was the last stage that he started fading.
Yeah, from such a promising start to the night with Ryan Blaney, it turned into a disaster, but ends up still climbing up to second in the points. Gibbs, who's been absolutely hot as of late, on a tear. He had a bad night. He had a really bad. They were on a bad pitch strategy. He ends up sliding to third. Reddick stays at fourth, which is crazy to say. Tyler Reddick is now fourth in the points, considering he was so far ahead in the points going into Nashville. So next three that clinched: Briscoe, Elliott, and Bell. They are now officially clinched into the chase. That's good news for me because I was starting to get a little concerned with Chase Elliott. But so top 7 in the points, they're officially clinched. Kyle Larson ends up moving back up to 8th. He got plus 2 points in the points. Then 9th, we talked about it, Joey Logano, officially now in 9th, plus 4 positions in the points. Chris Buescher, quiet night, by the way. Very quiet night for a track that I had such high hopes for with RFK. He ends up he slides down to 10th. Carson Hocevar, after the disaster of Richmond, he's now 11th in the points, minus 3 positions. William Byron drops to 12th. Daniel Suarez is 13th. Bubba Wallace stays at 14th. Austin Cindric is at 15th. And Shane Van Gisbergen is in 16th. Just below the cut line, you have Ryan Preece, Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, Eric Jones. Those 4 are kind of still within striking distance. Jones, probably Iowa killed him. It was such a fun season for him, in my personal opinion, but that Iowa finish, that Iowa DNF kind of killed it. And he even said in his post-race interview after Iowa, he's like, I got to go win a couple of these races in order to put myself into the championship or into the chase. Brad, I would say, is close to being eliminated. Yeah. 489 points, 16th at 567. Unless Brad goes to New Hampshire and Daytona and goes on a massive tear over the next 2 weeks, Brad's pretty much done. Chastain's got some hope, and Ryan Preece obviously have some hope, but they need some help, and it might be a little too late. I think that SVG is going to make it. I really do.
I hope it does.
I think SVG is going to make the chase. I really do. But I will say probably after New Hampshire, I would say probably everybody from Larson to Bubba is probably going to be clinched.
Yeah, I was going to say the 1st to 12th.
I would say.
Oh, no, I guess you can go to 14th, I guess, yeah.
I would say 1st to 14th are probably going to be clinched into the chase by the end of New Hampshire. And then Daytona, you're going to have probably those final couple spots open. But who knows? I mean, we could go to New Hampshire and all 16 could be clinched, and then Daytona's just you're running for the win.
Yep.
But that's the cool thing about the chase format.
It is.
All right. Final point. Biggest winner, biggest loser from Richmond.
My biggest winner, I'm giving it to Larson. 100%, I don't really know. I mean, there's a few other guys, but he was my biggest winner just from the position that he started. I'm going to do like an honorable mention just because we never talk about him. We never really should have a reason to, but I want to give Noah Gragson a good night. He started basically last, and I think he got like 18th or 17th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then my biggest loser... probably going to be Brad K.
Yeah.
Brad K and Hocevar can only blame himself.
Yeah. I'm going to say biggest winner, I'm going with the race winner, Joey Logano. I mean, what he's been, in my personal opinion, what he's been doing over the last 6 weeks, put himself back in the position to go win a championship. And that's something that I feel like a lot of us were talking about not happening this year in 2026. But here we are. Joey Logano right back into the thick of things. 2 wins, 70-plus points. Eliminates a lot of bad finishes in the first half of the season. So I definitely Joey Logano is my winner coming out of Richmond this week. My biggest, I wouldn't say biggest loser, but you got, by the way, going back to your Gragson point, you finished 18th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Gragson started 35th, ended up finishing 18th. You went with Brad K as your loser or biggest loser this week. I'm actually going to go into the camp of Chris Buescher. Go with RFK.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Actually, I'm going to go with RFK in general, right? Preece, Buescher, and Brad K. Preece finished 17th, Buescher finished 21st, and Keselowski finished 26th. This is a track that they've won at in this next-gen car. This is a track that I always circle for a nice RFK win or, top fives. And none of them were a factor in this race.
No.
Busher ended up starting this race. He started 19th. He climbed through the field a little bit, and then he faded when the long run ended up catching up to him. So I'm going with, I guess you can say RFK in general. So our biggest losers this week were RFK Racing. Deb checked in. She goes, I agree with Joey Logano being the biggest winner. Yeah, well, yeah, it's tough not to go with Joey Logano. It's just not right now. I mean, the summer stretch, we talked about Briscoe, we talked about Bell for a couple weeks. Who's going to get hot at the right time in this summer stretch? That's going to indicate who can probably make a good run at Hamlin. Logano's starting to become that driver. He really is.
And Logano's not scared to ruffle his feathers.
No, he's not, unfortunately. So, all right, checker flag on Richmond. Great weekend, a lot of fun. Never been to the track, go book your ticket next year. You won't be disappointed.
Yep.
All right, Jake, we're up to the Magic Mile this week, New Hampshire. So we haven't done picks in a couple weeks.
We haven't.
We haven't done picks in a couple weeks because we had that bye week. We didn't do a show. For our fans that are listening, for Iowa, I had Ryan Blaney, you had Brad Kay, and Richmond, we both chose Kyle Busch because we thought RCR was going to have a good showing. Unfortunately, Kyle is no longer with us. And then Austin Dillon was a big surprise this week, too. Austin Dillon was a no show. Yeah, non-factor. That's a surprise because they love that. They do well at that track. But so, honestly, it's been a while. I'm going to go with you on your picks first. You, in the offseason, or in the preseason, chose Joey Logano to win New Hampshire. Are you sticking with Logano?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with him because I think he's hot right now, and I think he could win this. He qualifies good here. I don't think. What's his average finish here? 12.
Yeah, 12.7.
He qualifies.
Average starts 3.7. His average starts 3.7.
Leads a lot of laps. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with him.
All right, sticking with Logano as your winner this week. In the preseason, I chose Christopher Bell, and I'm staying with Christopher Bell. This is Christopher Bell's playground. Like, we talk about second place Christopher for a long time. This might be the week for me that Christopher Bell punches that ticket into victory lane. I'm going with Bell. I'm sticking with Bell. CornerDriverAverage.com, 12 average finish since 2023. He's got one win here. Starts 8. Usually average start is 8th. He's got 2 top 10s and 1 top 5. I like Bell a lot this week.
Yeah.
Toyota does really well here, and I'm sticking with it.
They do.
I'm
They've done good at every goddamn freaking track this year.
Well, as of late, Joey Logano doesn't have Fords.
It's been the Fords.
Yeah.
It's not just the Blaney. It's not just the Blaney show anymore. Fords.
No, it's not. Joey Logano has now showed up into the picture. I can't get over it.
One to watch is going to be Ross Chastain.
Chastain, really?
Yeah. Only reason why I'm saying it is because his spot in the points. And you can still do it.
Yeah. He's been good. He's been good over the last 2 weeks. They've been picking it up. And we've been saying it. Is it a little too late? I don't know. But Chastain, this could be a good week where he comes out of left field and it's like, where did that come from?
Yep.
Where did that come from? And all of a sudden we're looking at him possibly in the chase. I like that pick. One to watch for me. Do I dare do this? Do I go Josh Berry? The one to watch.
He's got the best average finish in the field, man.
In 2 races since the start of 2023, in 2 races, he's got a 2.5 average finish.
When he finished second and third? Or second and fourth?
It must have been second and third. He's got 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. The problem with Berry, though, this is the problem with New Hampshire, though. Whoever gets in the lead, they just lead. Like there's no movement. There's no movement because like if I'm looking at the stats from the previous 3 races, right? Berry's got the best average finish, but only led 10 laps. Then Kyle Larson's got a 4.7. He's second with 10 laps led. Then I look at guys like Christopher Bell, who's in 6th in average finish at this track since the start of 2023. 150 laps led. Logano's got 149 laps led. Blaney won here last year with 116 laps led in 3 races. So it seems like to me at New Hampshire, if you get the lead, you just stay in the lead. But
you also catch the tail end so fast.
Barry was a massive factor in this race last year. He was a massive factor in this race last year. I'm going to go Barry as the one to watch. I'm going to stay on that trend. I'm going to go with Barry as the one to watch. So right now, I got Bell and Barry, and you got Logano and Chastain. Dark horse.
My dark horse, and I'm also going to use my hold because he's fighting to get in. I'm going to go Ryan Preece. Not statistically good here. Not statistically good here. But I just think he knows. And I definitely know nobody's going to put all their freaking bread in one basket for freaking Daytona to try to get in. So I want to see that he steps up this week in a track that he's not familiarly good with.
New England guy gets to win a New England track. That'd be pretty interesting. That's a pretty, and again, I mean, he's been consistently 18th or 17th all season long in the points. Unfortunately, if you're going to get into the chase, if you're like Preece, Keselowski, Chastain, at this point, like, you need to come away with a win over the next 2 weeks. You just do.
Yeah. And
That's a good one.
Don't bank it on Daytona.
Don't bank it on Daytona. You're playing Russian roulette. I am actually going to go with his teammate as my dark horse, and I'm going Brad Keselowski. He's won here in his career.
Yes.
He has not won here since he's come to RFK. Let me rephrase that. He's 20th, according to DriverAverage.com, in average finish since the start of 2023 at this track with an 18.7 average finish. And in that stretch, he's only got one top 5 and one top 10. Has not led a single lap. And he's only collected 58 points. He's only collected 58 total points over those 3 races, and he's only collected 3 stage points. Why I like Brad is because, similar to Ryan Preece, you are closing in on an opportunity to get into the chase. Sometimes you may just need to go back to your old playbook. And I personally think that Keselowski's going to have to go back to that old playbook and try to get that car into victory lane. Now, every time I pick Brad to do something, it doesn't pan out. But that's why he's my dark horse. Because I don't expect much from him.
You can always have him.
We could. All right, let's closing it down. Let's get to one in the chat line for a couple more comments that came in while we were giving our picks. We got Tom. He checked in. He goes, hoping for Michael Christopher Jr. gets close to a top 10 in the trucks and a top 3 in the Wheel and Modified Tour race. He's running a throwback in the trucks and his family 13 car in memory of his late Uncle Ted. Christopher, modified and Stafford legend. And then you got, he said 13 modified. Yeah, the modified.
Michael Christopher Jr. was on that race for the seat, by the way.
Yeah, he was. The thing about, New Hampshire is really big with the modifieds. They're huge. They are huge up there. And when I went to New Hampshire back in 2017, like that modified race was like legit. Like, sometimes you get the modified race and like it's more of like, hey, it's like an extra ticket, go from there, whatever. But up in New Hampshire, they take that shit really serious.
That stand's like packed.
Yeah, those stands are absolutely packed. Because like even when, like years ago, when we used to go up for the modified race up in Nazareth, right? Like the modified race in Nazareth used to be like a throw-in ticket for like if you got Busch Series tickets, you're getting the modified tickets, and half the fans left after the Busch race was done. New Hampshire, no, like that's the first race of the race weekend. So yeah, they take modifieds very serious up there. And then last but not least, final comment we got from Ted, closing it out. He goes, yes, Brad's the right pick. Oh, man, Brad K. Could you imagine he wins this race?
That'd be freaking great.
Yeah. So, all right, well, let's take the checker flag, Jake. Checker flag on tonight's episode. We appreciate everyone chiming in tonight on our Richmond discussion. Recap all the comments on the Blown In chat line. Appreciate all of you. Couple ways to continue supporting us. One, continue listening to us live on YouTube and Facebook at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. Go follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Also, if you miss our live episode, we'll put our episodes out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music at the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. Feel free to smash the follow button. Follow us on TikTok at the Broken Wheel Bearing Pod. Also, if you have friends on Facebook that love NASCAR and you think that we're a good fit for their fanhood, very simple way to continue adding them to our Facebook page. Go on the Broken Wheel Bearing Podcast. Up at the top bar, there's 3 dots. All you got to do is click those 3 dots, invite friends, and have them like us. That's all. Pretty simple. with all that being said, folks, have a wonderful race weekend at New Hampshire. We'll talk with you all next week. Appreciate all the kind words, the support, and all the fun topics tonight and all that stuff. With all that being said, have a wonderful night. Stay blessed. We'll talk to you next week. Good night.